Okay, it's day 338, and we're going to kind of zoom in from where the Rao Abbas meeting here happened, very close to the Coast Guard. There was an old telegraph road here. This is called Telegraph Road here, but there's an old telegraph road that goes pretty close to where that Rao Abbas meeting was. Just think about that for a minute, and maybe there was a tunnel there at one point, but this is the command center for the U.S. Coast Guard all around the United States. Now, why is it up here on this hill and not down by the Coast Guard headquarters? Well, I believe it was because it used to be the old radio tower there, the Fort Washington radio tower. And back then, and my dad I knew all about this from my dad's work with antennas and so forth. You needed the highest point on a hill, unobstructed, would give you the best radio reception when it was in a smaller area. And then they would link the radio stations together from radio station to radio station. So they would typically choose high points and then build a telegraph down to the water area where the boats were. So that's the idea of having this telegraph to radio kind of connection. It was kind of a innovation with the wireless radio that came about. But the communication center, the Worldwide Nerve Center for the Coast Guard is still here. So how does it connect is the question. And I believe, as I said when I walked across the road and showed everybody, that it is this telegraph road. Now, the key here is looking how close this Rao Abbas meeting was. Now, did he come from 5521 Eiler, that other place that I showed you that was just right up here by Top Golf? It's actually down here a little bit closer, even off Van Dorn here. This is Telegraph Road. Now, I'll tell you this. I went to this coffee shop, this grounded coffee shop, and this is a meeting point for all kinds of military folks, all kinds of military conversations going on in here. If I was going to put a fake site or if I was going to do an intercept or a tap, I'd do it at Grounded Coffee Shop. It's a great cover for having people come and go, and it's right on the fiber line. I mean, it's right on the fiber line. So anyway, I walked this, and I don't know what it is, but I just magnetically walked to this place and then walked back and then walked up to Eiler. I knew something was over here, and sure enough, it was just exactly where I would put it if I was going to put it. And again, that's speculation, but then that helps. It's kind of an experiment to throw out. Anyway, we're going to follow the line here of Telegraph Road. And if I find my cursor, it's difficult to do through the browser or through the camera. But we're going to go follow it up here to where it crosses. Now this area here, if you're in Virginia, you know the whole Virginia versus Maryland arguments over this waterway, and this led to this famous conference at Mount Vernon that was hosted, actually on the grounds. I explained before that Kingstown used to be a part, that hayfield used to be a part of Mount Vernon. So the people of Virginia feel very connected. This predates the United States, so they feel kind of a birthright to this Coast Guard setup. Now the Coast Guard comes after the Constitution comes in, but as far as the Port of Virginia and all that, that was the Port of Virginia, or Alexandria, was chartered by George Washington's older brother, Lawrence Washington. So it's very tied in with George Washington, that whole folklore. The fact that folklore was added later by the Mason guy in 1871, saying that Washington really was an agent of the king, and he wanted a king's town that Washington could rule from, and that's the background of Kingstown. We don't know all that stuff, but just some interesting folklore. But anyway, the fiber, I believe, runs along the highway. We're going to turn the bend here at what I call McDuff's Redoubt, McDuff being the FBI agent Kennedy hired to break the CIA into 1,000 pieces, who died so young, so tragically. We're going to wend our way up here to the Coast Guard headquarters. Now, if you remember, the Coast Guard is a member of DHS, and the people who fund the Coast Guard is going to be Andre Carson in the Capitol building. And you remember who plays video games with Andre Carson is going to be Imran Awan. So we're not talking about aspiring here. That's not at the heart of the, it's at the heart of our interdiction efforts. I've lost my cursor. Okay. So the other thing is, I might have gone past it. I did go past it. Coast Guard headquarters is going to be right around here. Okay, it's not coming up because I didn't put it there. But it's that old St. Elizabeth's site. It's the site, I believe this is the site I walked along here. It'll be somewhere in here. But that's where the information is going. And that's why I keep emphasizing that any point along this place could be a point where you would want to do an intercept and a tap. And a fiber tap is much more difficult than a regular any other kind of tap. And I'm sure the Coast Guard would be using fiber. They wouldn't be using older coax or anything like that. So I'm just saying that does Imran Awan make use of his friendship with Andre Carson to go to this base? Has he ever been to the Coast Guard base? Has he ever fled from the Rayburn room or the Rayburn office building from the John Wilkes phone booth with hard drives in hand to come here over the Navy Yard Bridge? Has he ever flown in a helicopter over to Ocean City, Maryland? If you get to this base and you get inside these headquarters and you can live here, there's living headquarters here, you're safe. You're safe until further notice. The police are not going to come get you. The Capitol Police are not going to come get you. This is a military base. And you can fly back and forth to the base over on the coast, which is Ocean City, Maryland, where Imran has an apartment, by the way, and pays the rent, and has an agent or front or business partner, or we don't know what Tegwa Fadlallah is, but that uses the 123 email. Now, is that a cover for using the 123 email to get information out there? I don't know. Is he working with the information, the terabytes of information that got downloaded over the 5,400 logins, illegal logins over a 7-month period? I don't know. Are car parts is this an illegal car parts business? Are cars being chop-shopped out there and sold all over the country? It's a very large installation there. Tegwa Auto Parts, we don't know any of those answers. But I just wanted to put that out and show that how close to this key race, this key fiber race, the Awans have kind of insituated themselves. And again, just looking at the metadata, it points the way, excuse me, I'm zoomed in, it points the way to Springfield. All right, I can't do this looking through the camera, but I will end it there. And just food for thought. Why are there, let's just go down a little bit more. Why are there 2, 3, and 4 Coast Guard districts no longer a part of the Coast Guard? That's an interesting question to me. Go down here to McDuff's readout here. And I believe the money is being laundered here at this MGM casino, which we're going to get to. And I think G4S is going to be looking out over the goings on, making sure that everybody's on the up and up. So I'll just keep going here. This is very difficult to do through the camera. I know there's a way to record. Anyway, I'm going to cut it off here. Sorry.